Myself, I am Dr. Rangaro, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Biotechnology, Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research. Today, I am going to talk about metabolic pathways. So, this course outcomes glycogenesis, glycogenolysis, glucogenesis, gluconeogenesis, pentose phosphation, enter now drought to pathway. So these are actually it will cover in this course. Coming to introduction, metabolism is the set of chemical reactions that occur in cell. Metabolic processes are classified into catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is nothing but production of energy from nutrients. Anabolism is production of new cell components. There is a large number of metabolic pathways. The most important metabolic pathways are glycolysis, Krebs cycle, oxidative phosphorylation, urea cycle, fatty acid beta oxidation, pentose phosphate, and gluconeogenesis. These are the most important metabolic pathways. So, previous class I already mentioned glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Previous lecture, I discussed about respiration. What is respiration and what is cellular respiration? Again, I am going to give a brief about it. Respiration is a process in living organisms involved in the production of energy with intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide from the oxidation of complex organic substances. It is a set of metabolic reactions and processes that takes place in cells of organisms to convert biochemical energy from nutrients into adenosine triphosphate and then release waste products. Coming to glycogenesis. Glycogenesis is the process of glycogen. Glycogenesis is the process of glycogen synthesis in which glucose molecules are added to chains of glycogen for storage. This process is activated during rest periods following the Cori cycle in the liver and also activated by insulin in response to high glucose levels. For example, after a carbon dioxide containing meal. Glycogen converted into glucose, glucose converted into pyruvate, again pyruvate converted to lactate. So again here lactate converted into lactate, lactate converted to pyruvate, pyruvate converted to glucose. Again glucose converted into glycogen. You can see here this whole process you can see glycogen converted to glucose, glucogenolysis. Through this is the process. Glycogenolysis through this one. Glycogen is converted into glucose through glycogenolysis. And then glucose converted to pyruvate, lactate converted into lactate. This is lactate. Again lactate converted to pyruvate, pyruvate converted to glucose, glucose converted to glycogen through glycogenesis process. Here you should remember always that how the glycogen converted to glucose, again glucose converted into glycogenesis. This is happened, glycogen converted to glucose, this whole process happened through in the muscles. And this glycogen, this process, glucose converted to glycogen, glucogenesis, it is happening in the liver. This process you can see here, glucose converted pyruvate and lactate, and again lactate converted pyruvate, and this will Cori cycle. Glycogenesis. These are the steps involved in glycogenesis. Glucose converted into glucose 6-phosphate with the help of hexokinase. Again, glucose 6-phosphate converted into glucose 1-phosphate with the help of phosphoglucomutase. This is enzyme involved here. Glucose 1-phosphate converted into UTP converted into phosphate, UDP glucopyrophosphorylase. Glucose 1-phosphate converted into this one, uridine diphosphate glucose, UDP, uridine diphosphate glucose, converted into 1,4, 1,4 glucosyl residues. Uridine diphosphate glucose converted into 1,4 glucosyl residues. This is glycogen synthase. Here the enzyme involved here, glycogen synthase. 1,4 glucose. Here glycogen again. Okay. Here you can see uridine diphosphate glucose. Okay, here glycogen is actually phosphate here, and glycogen primer converted into UDP, uridine diphosphate glucose. It is uridine diphosphate. UDP means uridine diphosphate. So this is the process. Glucose converted into glycogen. Glucose converted into glycogen. Here UDP, glucose pyrophosphorylase. Glucose 1,6 phosphate. How actually this produces? Glucose pyrophosphorylase. Glucose 1, phosphate react with UTP. UTP means uridine triphosphate. Uridine triphosphate. Glucose 1, phosphate react with UTP. Uridine triphosphate, and it will form UDP, uridine diphosphate glucose. Here you can see here the enzyme here. You can see this is a sugar molecule and attached to glucose. This is the sugar molecule, and this one is the uridine molecule. Uridine you can see here 1 and 2 attached to 1,4 position. 1,4 position. Uridine molecule. If you see the uridine molecule here, and the position carbon position 1 attached 1 molecule of phosphate and another molecule of phosphate. So that is uridine diphosphate glucose. Uridine diphosphate glucose. Uridine diphosphate glucose is the immediate precursor for glycogen synthesis. This is the one of the important precursor for glycogen synthesis, as glucose residues are added to glycogen. UDP, glucose is the substrate, and UDP is released as a reaction product. Spontaneous hydrolysis of the bonds in phosphate drives the overall reaction. Glycogen initiate glycogen synthesis. Glycogen is an enzyme that catalyzes attachment of glucose molecule to one of its own tyrosine residues. Glycogen is a dimer, and evidence indicates that the two copies of its one another. Glycosidic bond is formed between the anomic carbon of the glucose moiety derived from UDP glucose and the hydroxyl oxygen of tyrosine side chain of glycogen. UDP is released as a product. You can see here UDP glucose. You can see this is a glucose molecule, and this one is the uridine. You can see the uridine molecule, and then contain two phosphate functional groups, attached to phosphate functional groups. And other one is tyrosine residue of glycogen. And then coming to here, these two form oxygen linked glucose residue. This is oxygen linked glucose residue, and it will form alpha 1,4 linkage. You can see here alpha 1,4 linkage, and then this is UDP. We are going to add one more UDP glucose. This is one of the molecule, UDP molecule. We are adding the reaction, and it will form alpha 1,4 linkage, and then UDP, uridine diphosphate. Glycogen then catalyzes glucosylase at carbon 4 of the attached glucose with UDP glucose again being the glucose donor. The product is an oxygen linked disaccharide with an alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. linkage. This process is repeated until a short linear glucose polymer with 1 to 4 glycosidic linkages is built up on the glycogen. Glycogen synthesis catalyzes elongation of glycogen chains. Glycogen synthesis catalyzes transfer of the glucose moiety of UDP glucose to the hydroxyl at carbon 4 of the terminal residue of glycogen chain to form a 1,4 glycosidic linkage. A branching enzyme transfers a segment from end of the glycogen chain to the carbon 6 hydroxyl of glucose residue of glycogen to yield a branch with a 1 to 4 linkage. Glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis. This is another pathway. Glycogenolysis. Glycogen, you can see here, glycogen converted into glucose 1 phosphate. Glycogen converted into glucose 1 phosphate. Okay, this is pathway 1 pathway. Glycogen. This is another, you can see, glucose converted into glucose 6 phosphate. Glucose converted into glucose 6 phosphate with the help of hexokinase. ATP converted to ADP. That means glucose react with the ATP with the help of hexokinase, then produces glucose 6 phosphate and ADP. Again, glucose 6 phosphate react with glucose 1 phosphate with the help of phosphoglucobutase, then converted into UDPG, uridine diphosphate glucose. Here, glucose 1, 6 phosphate react with the UDPG, glucose 6 phosphate react with the UTP with the help of UDPG pyrophosphorylase and produces UDPG and phosphate. Again, UDPG, uridine diphosphate glucose, produces glucose molecule glucose N+1 with the help of glycogen synthesis. And again, glucose produces glycogen branching. This is the branching enzymes 1, 4 and 1, 6. So this is the process that glycogenolysis. And hepatic glycogenolysis. Glycogen convert to glucose 1 phosphate with phosphorylase enzyme, and glucose 1 phosphate convert to glucose 6 phosphate. Glucose 6 phosphate convert to glucose 6 phosphatase with the help of glucose 6 phosphatase. This is the enzyme involved here. Glycogen phosphorylase use inorganic phosphate to attack non-reducing ends. You can see here, this is the non-reducing end. You can see sugar molecule here, alpha 1, 4 here. So this one is a glycogen chain, glucose molecule, and you can see here glycogen phosphorylase. You can see glycogen phosphorylase. Glycogen chain here. This is a glycogen chain, and glycogen chain and phosphate both react, and then with the help of glycogen phosphorylase, then produces non-reducing and here phosphorylases. This is a process. So you can get here non-reducing and here. You can see non-reducing and here. One is here, it will form glucose 1 phosphate and then glycogen shortened by 1 residues. You can see here the difference non-reducing ends. Glycogen phosphorylase use inorganic phosphate to attack non-reducing end. Here you can see glycogen, this one, and use phosphate and phosphorylases. This process phosphorylase, and then you can see glycogen use phosphate and produces non-reducing end. This is non-reducing end, and this glucose 1 phosphate. Glycogenolysis is the breaking down of glycogen to glucose 1 phosphate and glycogen N-1. Glycogen branches are catabolized by the sequential removal of glucose monomers via phosphorylases by the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. Glycogenolysis is the degradation of glycogen by removal of glucose monomer through cleavage with inorganic phosphate to produce glucose 1-phosphate. This derivative of glucose is then converted into glucose 6-phosphate and intermediate in glycolysis. You can see the glycolysis pathway, so we can get this glucose 6-phosphate. This is the intermediate in glycolysis pathway. Glycogen phosphorylase catalyzes the reaction in which alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage between two glucose residues at a non-reducing end of glycogen undergoes attack by inorganic phosphate, removing the terminal glucose residues as a glucose 1-phosphate. Pyridoxal phosphate is an essential cofactor in the glycogen phosphorylase reaction. To mobilizing glycogen, 3 enzymes are required: glycogen phosphorylase, debranching enzyme, and phosphoglucobutase. These are the 3 enzymes involved here to mobilize glycogen. The end product of glycogenolysis is glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate has 3 fates. Glucose 6-phosphate has 3 fates. Glycogen converted into glucose 1-phosphate, glucose 1-phosphate converted to glucose 6-phosphate. In this process involved various enzymes here. There are 2 enzymes involved here. Here glucose 6-phosphate, you can see here, glucose 6-phosphate converted into pyruvate, then pyruvate converted to lactate. This whole process you can see in glycolysis pathway. Glucose converted to pyruvate, this glycolysis pathway. This usually happens in muscle and brain, this pathway. Pyruvate converted to lactate and then you produce a CO2 and H2. Again, glucose 6-phosphate converted to glucose. This process happens in liver, glucose 6-phosphate. This is the enzyme involved here. And then blood for use by other tissues. Again, glucose 6-phosphate converted into ribose plus NADPH. With this process happen, glucose 6-phosphate, the whole process happen, pentose phosphate pathway. Structure of glycogen, you can see here, this is the structure of glycogen. Glycogen phosphorylase cleaves the bond linkage, linking the terminal glucose residues to a glycogen branch by substitution of phosphorylase group or for the alpha 1,4 linkage. You can see here, this is alpha 1,4 linkage, alpha 1,6 linkage here. These are the non-reducing ends. These are the non-reducing ends. Glucose 1,6-phosphate is converted into glucose. You can see here, glucose 1-phosphate is converted into glucose 6-phosphate by enzyme phosphoglucobutase. Here, phosphoglucobutase. Glucose 1-phosphate is converted to glucose 6-phosphate by enzyme phosphoglucobutase. Glucose residues are phosphorylazed from branches of glycogen until 4 residues before a glucose that is branched with alpha 1,6 linkage. Glycogen debranching enzyme then transfers 3 of the remaining 4 glucose units to the end of another glycogen branch. And this exposes the alpha 1,6 branching point, which is idolized by alpha 1,6 glucose race, removing the final glucose residue of the branch as a molecule of glucose and eliminating the branch. This is the only case in which glycogen metabolite is not glucose 1-phosphate. The glucose is subsequently phosphorylated to glucose 6-phosphate by hexokinase. Functions. Glycogenolysis takes place in the cells of the muscles and liver tissues in response to hormonal and neuronal signals. In particularly, glycogenolysis plays an important role in the fighter or flighter response and the regulation of glucose levels in the body, in the bloods. Glycogenolysis takes place in the cells of the muscle and liver tissues in response to hormonal and neural signals. In particular, glycogenolysis plays an important role in the fighter or flighter response and the regulation of glucose levels in the blood. In myocytes, muscle cells, nothing but muscle cells, glycogen degradation serves to provide an intermediate source of glucose 6-phosphate for glycolysis to provide energy for muscle contraction. In hepatocytes in liver cells, the main purpose of the breakdown of glycogen is for the release of glucose into the bloodstream for uptake by other cells. The phosphate group of glucose 6-phosphate is removed by the enzyme glucose 6-phosphate phosphatase, which is not present in myocytes. The free glucose exits the cell via glucose to facilitate diffusion channels in the hepatocyte cell membrane. Regulation. Glycogenolysis is regulated hormonally in response to blood sugar levels by glucagon and insulin, and stimulated by epinephrine during the fighter-flighter response. In myocytes, glycogen degradation may also be stimulated by neuronal signals. Regulation. Glycogenolysis is regulated hormonally in response to blood sugar levels by glucagon and insulin, and stimulated by epinephrine during the fighter-flighter response. In myocytes, glycogen degradation may also be stimulated by neuronal signals. Clinical significance. Parenteral administration of glucagon is a common human medical intervention in diabetic emergencies. When sugar cannot be given orally, it can also be administered intramuscularly. Gluconeogenesis. Coming to gluconeogenesis, it is the synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. Gluconeogenesis, it is a synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. It occurs in the liver 90% and kidney 10%, 50%, up to 50% during the prolonged starvation. It occurs in the cytosol and mitochondria. You can see here lactate. You can see here lactate, lactic acid. Lactic acid convert to pyruvate, pyruvate convert to glucose, again glucose convert to glucose, and then pyruvate and then lactate. This is process happening in the liver. Lactic acid convert to pyruvate, pyruvate convert to glucose. Again, glucose converted into pyruvate, pyruvate produces lactate. So lactic acid. So this is happening in the muscles. This is normal glucose curve. You can see x-axis and then y-axis, the levels of plasma glucose levels. And x-axis you can see here glycogenolysis and glucogenesis. How much hours the bloodstream sample, time of the blood samples here. And the y-axis plasma glucose levels, mg per decimal. So this is renal threshold, 180 mg per milligram per decimal. Gluconeogenesis is the chief source of blood glucose during fasting for more than 18 hours. Cost. The production of glucose is energy expensive. It is a very energy expensive process. And input 2 pyruvate and 4 ATP molecule and 2 GTP molecule and 2 NADP. And output we can get 1 glucose and 4 ADP, 2 GDP, 2 NAD plus and 6 phosphate. Substrates of gluconeogenesis. These are the substrates going to use to produce energy: lactate, glycerol, amino acids. Lactate. Lactate is released into the blood by exercising muscle and by red blood cells. Cori cycle. As previously I mentioned that one, Cori cycle. Lactate is released into the blood by exercising muscle and by red blood cells. See here, glucose, red blood cells produces lactate, and you can see here, glucose produces lactate through the glycolysis. You can see lactate again produces glucose, gluconeogenesis. Lactate produces glucose through gluconeogenesis. This is happen in the liver, and you can see in the blood stream or red blood cells. Lactate produces lactate, and this is exercise muscles. When you do exercise, lactate is released into the blood by exercising muscle by red blood cells. Glycerol. Glycerol is converted into glycerol 3-phosphate. Glycerol is converted to glycerol 3 but with the help of glycerol kinase. Glycerol reacts with the ATP and produces ADP with the help of glycerol kinase and produces glycerol 3-phosphate. Glycerol 3-phosphate reacts with NAD plus with the help of glycerol 3-phosphate dehydrogenase and produces NADH and H plus and DHA, dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Glycerol is released during the hydrolysis of triacylglycerol. When you do triacylglycerol hydrolysis process, when you do the hydrolysis, this happens in the adipose tissues. It is released by the blood to the liver. Amino acids. Glucogenic amino acids derived from hydrolysis of tissue proteins. Amino acids. Glucogenic amino acids derived from hydrolysis of tissue proteins are the major source of glucose during fasting after the liver glycogen is depleted. Glucogenic amino acids are deaminated, giving pyruvate or intermediates of Krebs cycle, all of which can be transferred into oxaloacetate. All amino acids, we have 20 amino acids, can give glucose except leucine and lysine. Here, glucose, you can see here, lactate converted into pyruvate, and sometimes some amino acids also produce, you can see pyruvate, and you can see some amino acids produce oxaloacetate. So, lactate produces pyruvate. Through this one, produces, you can see phosphoenol pyruvate and 2-phosphoglycerate and 3-phosphoglycerate and 1,3. You can see here, pyruvate again converted into glucose. Coming to the same here, and you can see here cytosol. What happened here? Cytosol, and then is mitochondria. You can hear in this mitochondria process. You can see here the whole process. Oxaloacetate and oxaloacetate. You can see here malate and malate converted into oxaloacetate. Again PEP. Again converted this whole process. Glucose, lactate. You can see lactate, pyruvate again converted into malate converted into oxaloacetate, converted into PEP. Again, this whole process converted into glucose. The principal pathways of gluconeogenesis is essentially a reversal of glycolysis pathway. The reaction catalyzed by glucokinase, phosphofructokinase 1, pyruvate kinase are irreversible and require 4 enzymes unique to gluconeogenesis for their reversal. Reactions unique to gluconeogenesis. So these are the enzymes: glucokinase, phosphofructokinase, pyruvate kinase are irreversible and require 4 enzymes unique to gluconeogenesis for their reversal. Reversal of pyruvate kinase reaction by 2 enzymes: pyruvate carboxylase, 2-phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. Reversal of the pyruvate kinase reaction by 2 enzymes, and here reversal of phosphofructokinase 1, it required fructose 1,6 bis phosphatase, and Reversal of the glucokinase reaction by glucose 6-phosphatase. So these are the enzymes involved here. Reversal of pyruvate kinase reaction by two enzymes. You can see here how the enzyme pyruvate converted into oxaloacetate. Pyruvate reacts carbon dioxide ATP molecule with the help of again here acetyl CoA. It is added acetyl CoA with the help of pyruvate carboxylase. Then produces, you can see produces oxaloacetate and ADP molecule. Again, oxaloacetate converted into malate with the help of MDH and NADH. Produces NADH plus and H plus and malate. This will happen in the mitochondria, whereas you can see malate converted to oxaloacetate converted to phosphoryl pyruvate. So this is happening in the cytosol. Coming to reversal of phosphofructokinase reaction by fructose 1,6 bisphosphate. Fructose 1, bisphosphate converted into fructose 6-phosphate with the help of fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase. This is the enzyme involved here. Then H2O added here in this process, and then fructose 2,6 bisphosphate also involved here. So one ATP molecule also added here. So fructose 1,6 bisphosphate converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Again, reversal of the glucokinase reaction by glucose 6-phosphatase. Here, glucose 6-phosphate converted into glucose with the help of glucose 6-phosphatase and one water molecule here and this one. This enzyme is present in the liver and kidney but not in the muscle. Gluconeogenesis and glycolysis are reciprocally regulated. It is one pathway is relatively inactive while the others is highly active. Fructose 2,6 bisphosphate plays an important role in determining whether glucose is to be degraded or synthesized. Alternative routes of glucose catabolism. Pentose phosphate pathway is nothing but hexose monophosphate pathway. This pathway consists two parts. One is glucose 6-phosphate undergoes 2-oxidation by NAD+. The second oxidative step includes decarboxylase that forms a pentose phosphate. The pentose phosphate is transferred into fructose 6-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. It is an alternative pathway to glycolysis. It is an aerobic process. In this process, glucose is used as a raw material. Products formed are pentose sugars, carbon dioxide and NADPH. This pathway occurs in adipose tissue, liver, testes, erythrocytes, adrenal cortex and lactating mammary glands, which are involved in fatty acid and steroid production. This is oxidative stage of pentose phosphate pathway. Glucose 6-phosphate converted into 6-phosphogluconol-lactone with the help of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase and NADP converted NADPH. 6-phosphogluconol-lactone react with H2O and with the help of gluconol-lactase convert to 6-phosphogluconate. 6-phosphate gluconate converted into ribulose 5-phosphate with the help of 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase and NADP converted NADPH and carbon dioxide. So 6-phosphogluconate converted into ribulose 5-phosphate. Non-oxidative reactions. This is oxidative stage of pentose pathway. Then again coming to non-oxidative reactions. This is oxidative part of the pentose phosphate shunt. Beta D glucose 6-phosphate converted to 6-phosphogluconol lactonate. This is structurally how this one oxidative pathway. As I mentioned the previous one, how the pathway is involved, and this is the structurally how this molecule is involved. You can see here what are the enzymes involved, how that glucose 6-phosphate converted to ribulose 5-phosphate. This is a non-oxidative stage pentose pathway. Ribulose 5-phosphate converted into xylose 5-phosphate and then here ribulose 5-phosphate. But these are the enzymes involved here. Ribulose 5-phosphate 3-epimerase and this one is ribulose 5-phosphate isomerase. These are the two enzymes involved here and produces xylose 5-phosphate and ribulose 5-phosphate. Again xylose 5-phosphate and then ribose 5-phosphate converted and then both reacted with the help of trans ketolase converted into 2-hepatulase 7-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Again these two involved with the help of trans aldolases and produces erythrophosphatase and again fructose 6-phosphate. Again xylose 5-phosphate you can see here and erythrose 4-phosphate converted into 2 molecules with the help of trans ketolase produces glyceraldehyde phosphate 3-phosphate and fructose 6-phosphate. This is all process oxidative stage of pentose phosphate pathway. This is non-oxidative steps. How the structurally involved here. Pentose phosphate shunt is an anabolic pathway that occurs in cytoplasm, generates 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 carbon sugars and NADPH, generate NADPH for reductive biosynthesis reactions, phosphate and steroid in the cytoplasm. Provide the cells with the ribose 5-phosphate for synthesis of nucleotides. This ribose 5-phosphate we use in nucleotides and nucleic acids and some enzymes and ATP molecules to form intermediates for glycolysis and gluconeogenesis. The NADPH for this is very important. Pentose phosphate shunt is an anabolic pathway that occurs in the cytoplasm, generate 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 carbon sugars and NADPH. Generate NADPH for reductive biosynthesis reactions in cytoplasm. Provide the cell with ribose 5-phosphate for synthesis of nucleotides, nucleic acids, enzymes and ATP to form intermediates for glycolysis and gluconeogenesis. The next one, internal Dowdruff pathway. Although glycolysis is nearly universal, some bacteria use an alternative route called the internal Dowdruff pathway. Internal Dowdruff pathway. This is happening sometimes using bacteria. Final product is ethanol. This pathway was first reported in 1952 by Michael Dowdruff and Nathan Antonar. So these are the two scientists. One is Michael Dowdruff and Antonar. Dowdruff pathway. This one is used in alternative route called in the Antonar pathway. Final product we will get this pathway ethanol. Dowdruff pathway. Glucose converted into ethanol. You can see this is the process. Glucose converted glucose 6-phosphate. Then glucose 6-phosphate converted into 6-phosphogluconic acid and convert glucose the 6-phosphogluconic acid converted into 2-keto 3-deoxy 6-phosphogluconic acid. Again, this converted into 2 molecules. One is pyruvic acid, other one is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Pyruvic acid converted into acetaldehyde and then ethanol. And glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate converted into pyruvic acid and then again acetaldehyde and acetaldehyde converted into ethanol. This is the glucose converted into ethanol. This is internal Dowdruff pathway for glucose breakdown. You can see stepwise involved here. Each one. Glucose converted into glucose 6-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate, gluconate, 6-phosphogluconate. Again 6-phosphogluconate converted to 2-keto 3-hydroxy 2-phosphoglutamate. This we call KDPG, short name. Again, this convert into pyruvate. Pyruvate convert into ethanol. And again, here glyceraldehyde 3% convert into ethanol. This is the end route pathway. Structurally, how this one involved this reaction. Glucose convert to pyruvate via EDAP. Two stages linear pathway like glycolysis. First stage unique, second stage identical. KDP is the unique intermediate, yields 1 ATP, 1 NADH and 1 NADPH. Note, one pyruvate is generated at each stage of the pathway, found in some gram-negative bacteria instead of glycolysis, Rhizobium, Agrobacterium, Azotobacteria, bacteria, Pseudomonas. So these are the happening in the negative gram-negative bacteria. This happen in ED pathways. The end-route group pathway describes an alternative series of reactions that catabolize glucose to pyruvate using a set of enzymes different from those used in the glycolysis or the pentose phosphate pathway. When these are the enzymes is different when compared to this one, glycolysis and pentose phosphate pathway. Distinct features of end-route group pathways are that occurs only in prokaryotics. ED pathway occurs in prokaryotics, uses 6-phosphogluconate dehydratase and 2-keto-3-hydroxy phosphogluconate aldolase to create pyruvates from glucose. As a net yield, 1 ATP for every one glucose molecules processed as well as 1 ADP and 1 NADPH. By comparison of glycolysis as net yield of 2 ATP and 2 NADH for every one glucose molecule processed. Summary: glucose converted into glycogen through glycogenesis process. Glycogenolysis is the breakdown of glycogen to glucose 6-phosphate. Glycogenolysis is the degradation of glycogen by removal of glucose monomer through cleavage with inorganic phosphate to produce glucose 1-phosphate. Gluconeogenesis is the synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sugars. Fructose 6-phosphate plays an important role in determining whether glucose is to be degraded or synthesized. Pentose phosphate shunt is an anabolic pathway that occurs in the cytoplasm. Generates 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 carbon sugars and NADPH. ED pathway describes an alternative series of reactions that catabolize glucose to pyruvate using set of enzymes that involve to produce ethanol, which is not used in glycolysis and pentose phosphate pathway. These are the summary questions. Discuss details involved in gluconeogenesis, explain mechanism of glucogenesis. Write brief note on glucogenesis and gluconeogenesis. What is ED pathway? Explain it with a neat structure. Discuss in detail about pentose phosphate shunt. Write the steps involved in non-oxidative step pentose phosphate pathway. Explain the bioenergetics involved in gluconeogenesis. What are the enzymes involved in ED pathway and what are the enzymes involved in gluconeogenesis and PPP? That means PPP means pentose phosphate shunt. These are some of the textbooks and references books where you can get this information and you can have a look at one books. Please read the books. Thank you all.